Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our ISHB lecture. ISHB spelled is the Institute for the Study of the Humanistic Buddhism. And today we are so thankful to invite Venerable Jue Ji. And Venerable Jue Ji comes from Foguangshan, and currently she's stationed in Austin, Texas. So let me briefly introduce her to everyone. Venerable Jue Ji renounced her household life and became a Buddhist nun under Venerable Master Xing Yun at Foguangshan, Kaohsiung, Taiwan in 1990. She obtained her PhD degree at the University of Hong Kong in 2008, exploring her research interests in contemporary Chinese Buddhism and the relevance of humanistic Buddhism in the modern world. She believes that the doctrine of non-dualism will guide one to realize when the mind is pure, the Buddha land will be pure. Pronounced by the central figure Vimalakīrti in the Vimalakīrti Sūtra. That is today's topic, her specialist. Through Foguangshan practice in daily life, Venerable Jue Ji help people reduce their pressure from work and establish self-confidence in their social network. She is currently the director of Foguangshan Xiangyun Temple, Austin, Texas. By applying the tenet of non-dualism, she is leading her Austin Buddhist community, a Salabo, of multiple culture, multiple ethnic, and multi-linguistic group to establishing a pure land in the human world. While an underlying unity is working to embrace all diversity. With the perseverance, she assured that the Sangha community will awaken to a new dimensions of thought and new level of actualizing humanistic Buddhism in the 21st century. Now we invite Venerable Jue Ji and give her specialist and her reflection on the non-dualism. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Wow. Okay. Can you see me better? Well, it's glad to be home. I call US as my home because I served here during year 2008 to 2014. And it is a wonderful time. As soon after I got my PhD in Hong Kong U, I was assigned here. So you can see how nervous a newly graduated PhD student will feel to be in charge of an Institute of Chinese Buddhist Studies. And so why I pick up the topic, the Vimalakīrti Sutra, it's because it's very special in Buddhism. And the last time that I lectured on this was in Hong Kong, and that will be about 10 years ago. And especially that is in Chinese, so this is my first time to do that in English. I hope you will understand it. Okay, the topic I put on here is listen to the sound of silence, and especially focusing on the doctrine of non-dualism in this sutra. So let me put on this. Okay, sound of silence. Have you ever heard sound of silence? Now you break the silence. Okay, so in Chan koan stories, this is a very popular topic, sound of silence. And what is that? That has been puzzled me for years, because I really want to hear the sound of silence. And the more I try to, the more difficult it seems to me to hear that. And then after years of practice and learning and studying Buddhism, I sort of have some enlightenment, which I would like to share with you. So today, my outline will be an introduction of the background about the Sutra, and then I will focus on miracles and transcendental powers. Then, that is the main theme topic about dualism and non-dualism in the human world, and then conclusion of that. Okay, so the introduction of the sutra, as we know that, it has it's a Sanskrit title, which is Vimalakīrti Sutra, and in English it is being translated in various versions. One is Sutra on the exposition of Vimalakīrti and the doctrine of the emancipation beyond comprehension. And this has been emancipation beyond comprehension also is one of the chapters in the sutra. And also it is being translated as Pure Flame Sutra. And then I think this is a translation from Vimalakīrti. Okay. So about this sutra, I think if you have learned, studied Buddhism, we know that Buddhism started from early Buddhism, and then Sectarian Buddhism and the Mahayana movement in around the 1st century CE. Unfortunately, the Sanskrit version of text of the sutra was lost. So currently, the English translation, it was a translation from Kumarajiva's Chinese translation. And the text that the English version of this text I used is translated by Burton Watson. But nowadays, if you go online, you can see several different translations, and online translation is available. Okay, so the central key teaching in this sutra, and also the central tenet, doctrine, teaching in Mahayana thought is emptiness or sunyata. Okay? And we learn about emptiness, but generally speaking, when people heard about emptiness, then they would think that it negates all kinds of phenomena, all the phenomena in the world. And so it's more of a negative connotation than the positive one. However, if you have read, how many of you have read the sutra, Vimalakīrti Sutra? Put down your hands. Okay, good. So you will find that that is the positive interpretation of the doctrine of emptiness. And we say that language is, the worldly language, is to help us to understand the phenomena in the world, but normally the language is used to distinguish things, right? However, if you want to understand the meaning of emptiness, then you have to be able to get rid of the idea of distinction. And how can a language help you to understand that? That is the question. Okay. So let's disregard of what emptiness means in the sutra, in the Buddhist sutra. Now may I ask you, what do you think about emptiness in the modern world? Anyone would like to chime in? What is the emptiness for you? Yes?
It is often means being separated from self. It means nothingness to life.
Nothing? Okay. Or nothing? Okay. And what else? Can you give me a more positive? I just mentioned, we want to approach the idea of sunyata in a more positive approach.
Out of everything.
Out of everything is nothing. Nothing. Not that positive. Okay, think about it. Okay. So in this sutra, it's very special. Usually a Buddhist sutra, the hero would be the Buddha or a very eminent bodhisattva. But in this sutra, the hero is a lay person. Okay? His name is Vimalakīrti. Okay? And then he was portrayed as a very ideal lay believer. Okay? And he is a wealthy person, and he lived in the city, not in the remote forest areas. And he's very eloquent, right, in speaking the Dharma. And so he has what we said, a very secular or worldly appearance, okay? Jewels, okay? Beautiful clothes, okay? And successful in his business. However, in this sutra, you will find that he bears a very otherworldly attitude, mentality in mind. So while doing a business, then he's able to detach, okay, what we call the 5 desires. So is that possible in the modern world? This is a question that I'm thinking of when I prepare the talk today. So another question. So where can we find someone like Vimalakīrti in the modern world? Do you have any candidates? I think I should put the talk as the sound of silence. I regret.
I think of somebody like Melinda Gates, who is the head of a huge philanthropy and is involved in so many humanitarian projects.
Right. That can be regarded as Vimalakīrti. Good. Yes?
I know that some of our Formosan donors,
Yes.
I can see like J.P. Wang and Alice Wang.
Yes.
They are very
Right.
devoted Buddhist
Right.
people and have been very kind in terms of their contribution, not just to Formosan but to education institutions and to many other institutions. They have been philanthropists for the last many years. And their original was very humble. But now, even though they very successful in their business, but they never forget about giving. And sharing, not even just giving, but sharing what they have, their knowledge as well as their wealth.
Right. So we can find some role models, right, in our modern world. And I would say that President Tak, okay, as an educator, you can be regarded as a female form of Vimalakīrti. Okay? I shouldn't emphasize on female or male because in the doctrine of non-duality, okay, I shouldn't emphasize on that. This is a role model of Vimalakīrti in the modern world. Okay, so if you have read the sutra, Okay, I believe in total there are 14 chapters. So the reason why we have this the text behind it is the setting is inquiring illness of Vimalakīrti. And so before the person who is going to inquire the illness of Vimalakīrti, and then they meet together, dialogue. Okay, it takes 4 chapters. Okay, to prepare the setting. Okay, so the 4 chapters are chapter 1, Buddha lens, and then expedient means, the disciples, and the bodhisattvas. Then, when the setting was inquiring the illness, it takes another 4 chapters to describe. Okay? So chapter 5 is inquiring about illness, and then talks about what is beyond comprehension. Okay? And then regarding living beings, how a bodhisattva regarding living beings, and what it talked about, what is the Buddha way. Then it's up to chapter 9, then we come to the topic that we are going to discuss today about entering the gate of nondualism. But actually, if you pay attention, of almost all the chapters, more or less, are talking about the non-dualistic ideas. Okay? And then chapter 10, 11, 12, they introduce about other Buddha lands other than this Saha world. And then chapter 13, 14 is like most of the Mahayana sutras. At the end, they will say that if you practice this sutra by reciting it, reading it, okay, copy, sutra copy, then you will have merits, and then entrustment of this sutra to the future Buddha, that is Maitreya Buddha. So this would be the frame of the sutra. Okay? So I put miracles, okay, as one of the topic, the outlines that I'm going to talk about it. And so before we start talking about that, I would like to ask you, okay, why would people perform miracles? This is speaking from the performance perspective. And then why the audience like to see miracles? Say, for example, if here today, instead of a Dharma lecturer, if Bo Zhuren introduced me as a magician, maybe I would attract a lot more audience. Right? So why would people perform miracles? And why people are so enchanted by miracle performance? Yes?
This helps to subdue skepticism, because it kind of shows people the truth of what's being taught. They can see with their own eyes.
Okay. To build up confidence from the audience about the teaching of the Buddha, perhaps in this context. Okay? What would be other? You know, in this sutra, there are several scenes that I think you can do a movie on it. And last time when I taught this in Hong Kong, actually I was planning to let my audience to do a role play on this. Yeah, okay, to build up, strengthen the confidence of the audience. Okay, so you may bear that in mind, but maybe there are some other reasons. So this is the reason I give. Okay? I said that because miracles go beyond time and space. Okay? And miracles would be experienced by someone who has broken through into the realm of sunyata, emptiness, or what we call the realm of absolute. I think, in my opinion, I think all the Buddhas, they pray miracles. And that made me feel Buddha is someone different from us, and therefore I have to try very hard to be like him. And okay, so the challenges is that then how does the hero Vimalakīrti manage to fulfill his role? Because in this sutra, he was portrayed as the lead of the lay people, right? And then he is faithful to the bodhisattva ideal, and he is also an embodiment of true Buddhist wisdom and detachment. Okay? And then how does he manage to fulfill his roles? It's really very difficult. Right? That it's not what we ordinary human beings can reach, this kind of roles. Okay. So, no easy answers to this. And so therefore, in reading this sutra, we have to be open to new dimensions of thoughts. And then we have to allow ourselves new levels of the religious understanding and perhaps the action about it. Okay. So, as Guo Zhuren introduced me, that the idea of when the mind is pure, the Buddha land will be pure is a very popular quote in this sutra. So, when we want to establish a pure land on this earth, as Venerable Master Xingyun often told us, that let's establish a pure land on earth. Okay? So how are we going to build up a pure land on earth? And it is from this quote we find the answer. And what is the answer? We have to, so as to, we have to purify our mind so that we can have a pure land on this earth. Okay? So is that easy? Not very easy. Okay. And so, in this sutra, there's a story that one of the disciples of the Buddha asked. Okay? So it is after learning from the Buddha that other Buddha lands are very beautiful, okay, full of jewels and very pure there. And while the world that we live in is called the Saha world. And what is the meaning of Saha world? The Saha world is full of, for students, you know what suffering is, right? You have to write homework, turn paper, okay? You have to pass your orals. All these can be regarded as suffering. Or maybe we can put it sweet suffering, okay? Okay, the Saha world is full of all kinds of burdens in life, that a housewife has her suffering in taking care of a family, the breadwinner of a family, and also has the burden of accommodating the family, okay, to lead a happy life. So everyone has more or less some sufferings, and living in this Saha world, we also our environment also are damaged because we human beings, we are careless in making use of the resources in our life. And so one of Shakyamuni Buddha's disciple pointed out, say that all the Buddha lands are so beautiful, pure, and why your land is full of impurities. So guess what the Buddha do? The Buddha prayed miracles. Okay? So by pressing his toes, okay, on the earth, then all the environment change in a second. And then so everything that disciple of the Buddha saw was very pure. Right? And so the Buddha says that it's like a blind person, right, cannot see the sunshine, but that doesn't mean that the sun didn't shine on the world. And so my land is very pure and beautiful. It is your fault. The fault is yours that you cannot see my pure land. Okay. Did you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, very humble answer. Okay. So the Buddha, why the Buddha give us such a show us such a Saha world, okay, full of impurities, the environment, and then there are bad guys in the world. Okay, the Buddha, okay, this is the answer from Vimalakīrti Sūtra. It says that the Buddha wishes to save the lowly and the inferior, typo, and the inferior, and so that it is out of the Buddha's compassion, actually, that he showed us the Saha world. Okay? Otherwise, the lowly, the inferior one, won't be able, okay, to understand the teaching of the Buddha. It is said that if you live in a very well-doing environment, you will forget that you need to cultivate yourself. Right? And so therefore, the human world in this Saha world is a more appropriate place for us to practice instead of the heavenly world. Okay, so in teaching Dharma, the teaching aid that Vimalakīrti, okay, if we regard him as a great teacher, then the teaching aid, okay, that he makes use of is the illness of his physical body. And the approach, if you read the Sutra, you will find that eventually he will guide the people to set their minds on attaining Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, or the ultimate enlightenment. Okay? And the goal that he is trying to transform the human body to the Buddha body, or the Dhamma body, or the Dhammakaya in a Mahayana Buddhist term. Okay. So, in talking about this human body, okay, there's a quote. It says that good people, this body is impermanent, without durability, without strength, without firmness. It's a thing that decays in a moment, not to be relied on. It suffers, and it is tormented. It is a meeting place of manifold ills. Okay? I think we all agree on that. This is our human body. And as a great teacher, the hero, Vimalakīrti, is able to make use of this to do a great Dhamma teaching, Dhamma lecture. Right? And so we should look down upon ourselves, that wherever you go, okay, in our daily life, there is no lacking of teaching material to teach Dhamma if you know how to use your teaching aid. Okay. And what is the Buddha body or Dhamma body? The quote: "It is born from immeasurable merits and wisdom. It is born from precepts, meditation, wisdom, emancipation, and the insight of emancipation." Okay, so it tells us very clearly how are we going to obtain the Buddha body, right? It is through your cultivation of 6 paramitas, right? Giving, discipline, tolerance, endurance. Always he will invite all the participants who just officially become a Buddhist, and then he want the participant to say it out loud, I am a Buddha, right? And then at the beginning normally says, the people will say, I'm a Buddha. And master will say, louder please, I'm a Buddha. Louder please. Okay. And then say loudly, yes?
I think your question reminds me of what Master Venerable Team always say, that every one of us is a living Buddha. But is it really depend on when you want that living Buddha to appear, to exist? Is inside you already, but you cannot. So when the first question, human body, we have the same human body. I think we all have the same human body. The Buddha body is, you may not be able to see it. It's invisible at this moment, but you can see it when time comes, and it's up to the individual efforts. But you already have it.
Right.
Yes.
The question involved the issue of time and the issue of space. Right? And unfortunately or fortunately, both time and space, they are in a flowing state. So you can never find a fixed time and a fixed space to indicate that is your Buddha body or that is your human body, because it interacts with one another all the time and in all spaces. Okay. So, quickly, let's come to the issue of dualism and non-dualism in the human world. Okay, so as I mentioned, the frame of the text, it shows that in chapter 2 that Vimalakīrti was ill, okay? And then it requires someone, right? He is thinking why the Buddha haven't sent out anyone to inquire his illness. When I read this, I feel very interesting. It's a successful businessman, and he was still like a little kid, that when you are ill, you are thinking about when will my dad, when will my mom come to me and inquire my illness. You want to be taken care of. And of course, we know that the hero here, he wants to make use of the occasion to give a lecture, on what we call the emptiness, or the concept of non-dualism. And so therefore, in the following chapters, then it introduced the immediate disciples of the Buddha, and they are regarded by the people who promote Mahayana movement, regarding them as a small vehicle or Hinayanist. But of course nowadays we don't use that term, but this refers to those disciples of the Buddha that they care only about their own individual practice and ignore the benefit of all living beings in understanding the teaching of the Buddha. And then it also introduced the Bodhisattvas. And Bodhisattvas, you see here, I put lowercase b here. So they are not yet there, not yet great Bodhisattvas, but still they are also very afraid of taking the duty of inquiring the illness of Vimalakīrti. And so in the following chapters, it introduces what is the right mentality of an ailing bodhisattva. So if you are sick, you have to demonstrate that you are a good practitioner, right? So you should have a right attitude, a right mentality. I'm very embarrassed to tell you when I got sick. I don't have that kind of mentality to tell you the truth. But the Sutra reminds us there is a right mentality in being sick. So here it gives the disciple of the Buddha, Ananda. Okay? So I will give you one example from the sound hearer, the voice hearer of the disciple of the Buddha, and his name is Ananda. And I know that you know Ananda very well, right? The one who is the attendant of Shakyamuni Buddha for many years, so he can recite almost most of the Buddha's teaching. Okay? And so the story goes once upon a time. Okay? So he was standing outside the door of a lay person. And Vimalakīrti happens to pass by, and then so he asked Ananda, "Why are you standing here with the bowl?" Okay? It seems that you are begging something from the lay. And Ananda told him that because the Buddha needs some cow's milk, and the Buddha currently suffers from slightly bodily illness. Okay? And guess what Vimalakīrti responds to that? He says, "Oh, don't say that. Right? It's defaming the Daskam one. Right? Daskam one is Tathagata, the Buddha. Right? Because the Tathagata is unconditioned. Right? So we live in this conditioned world. Right? But the Buddha has already transcended the conditioned world. So therefore, he should be unconditioned and he shouldn't get sick. Right? So you are saying that is defaming the Buddha. Okay? So what should Ananda do? Okay? The Buddha really needs cow's milk. Right? However, Vimalakīrti is here saying that I shouldn't say that, so what should I do? So upon that time, there is a voice coming from the sky and saying that, but the Buddha has appeared in this evil world of 5 impurities to save the living beings. Okay? And so upon hearing that, then Ananda is comfortable in begging the food, the cow's milk for the Buddha. Now, my question again for you, okay? So I regard Venerable Master Xing Yun as a holy person. So what do you think? Did Venerable Master Xing Yun suffer from his aging, his illness, and death? Definitely yes, okay? So what was Master Xing Yun's mentality in facing his aging, illness, and death? When you are, okay, what should be the right attitude, okay, to see the issue of aging, illness, and death of a holy person, of a highly spiritually achieved person like Venerable Master Xing Yun? Okay? So when Venerable Master Xing Yun was seriously ill, and are you comfortable in telling people Venerable Master Xing Yun was ill, cannot walk, cannot talk normally, right? So what is our struggle there? That feel unwilling to tell that even a holy person, a highly spiritual attainment person, also suffer like you and me. What is there? Because we think that a holy person shouldn't get sick, right? And then because even he is sick, we think that a holy person won't suffer, won't feel the pain. So we have our image, okay, of what a holy person should look like. Okay? But is that fair to Venerable Master Xing Yun? Okay? Because when before I was assigned abroad, I stayed in Taiwan for 9 years in Foguangsan, and at that time, in the 90s, we have a lot of opportunities to see and listen to Venerable Master Xing Yun's lecture in person, and so being around with him. He was just like we, ordinary people, okay? And so, why we give us such a, we know that a venerable is also an ordinary human being, but why we expect that person differently? Okay? Now in the audience, I can see more monastics, okay? So that I feel not alone. But sometimes we monastic, when we are among the public, and then we feel that we have to be somewhat special, right? But when the exam comes, when we have to prepare the examination, we still have the stress. Okay? And then I cannot tell you that because the Buddha will bless me so that I won't have that stress. That's a lie. Okay. Okay. So did you have any? I don't have time to wait for your answer, so it's your homework. Now, how about Bodhisattva? Okay. So about Bodhisattva, in the Sutra, it also gives another example of a Bodhisattva whose name is Upholder of the Age. And then he says that he is incapable of inquiring the illness of Vimalakīrti. The reason why, he says that, I remember once upon a time when I come across a person, okay? This person is the devil King Papias. Okay? But he disguised himself as Indra, God Indra, and at that time he was accompanied, the devil king was accompanied by 12,000 heavenly maidens, beautiful ladies. Okay? And then so the devil king approached to this Bodhisattva, upholder of the age. He says that, how about I give you all my 12,000 beautiful ladies to you, okay? And then the Bodhisattva says, no, don't do that. This is against my practice, okay? I shouldn't have these beautiful ladies with me, okay? And then upon that time, again, Vimalakīrti showed up. And Vimalakīrti said to Bodhisattva, he says that, don't be deceived by him. He is the devil king in disguise. He is not the god Indra. Okay? And Vimalakīrti said to this devil king, he says that you shouldn't disguise yourself. I know you are the devil king. And so this devil king tried to escape from Vimalakīrti, okay? But he couldn't. And Vimalakīrti says that, why don't you give the 12,000 beautiful lady to me, okay? Instead of to the Bodhisattva practitioner. And so the devil king followed him and said, okay, you can have my 12,000 maidens. And what did Vimalakīrti do with these 12,000 maidens? he gave them a Dharma talk. Okay? And then upon hearing that, all the 12,000 ladies, they set their mind on approaching to the Anuttara Samya Sambodhi to seek after the ultimate goal of enlightenment. So after that, the devil king again come back to Vimalakīrti. He says that now I'm going back to my palace. Okay? And would you give me back my 12,000 young ladies? And guess what? Okay, these young ladies, they all say, no, we don't want to go back to your palace. Okay? Now that we learned the way of cultivation, our spiritual cultivation, we don't want to go back to your palace of the 5 desires. Right? And so they say no, and Vimalakīrti says that it's better that you go back. Why is that? He says that now you learned, and then so you have Dhamma delight. You are delight in your practice, and then you can pass on the practice to your daughters, to your sons, and your daughters and sons can continue to pass on, and so that the lineage of the Dharma won't stop. Okay? And so this is the teaching of the inexhaustible lamp, or 无尽灯 in Chinese. Okay? So with that, then the 12,000 ladies, they follow the devil king and go back to his palace. So, what do you think? If you were one of the 12,000 ladies, are you going back, or you want to stay with Vimalakīrti? I really give you a very wrong topic, right? The sound of silence. It's silence all the way.
I can always say, knowing what the world turned out to be now, that we live in, I would want to return to the native.
You know, this is what I think. Okay, very good. Thank you. Lay Buddhist. Okay, this is after my experience in the academic world, and then when I was assigned to the temple in Austin, this is for me, it's a good experience in trying to apply Buddhism that I learned to the real daily life, the real people. Right? And I think that lay Buddhists, after taking refuge in the Triple Gem and after observing the 5 precepts or the Bodhisattva precepts, and usually then they stand in the crossroad of leading whether they want to continue to lead a household life or a renunciant life. So, why? Because they have experienced the Dhamma delight. Okay? And there is no comparison. Okay? Once you have the Dhamma delight, you don't want to go back to what we call the quote-unquote the Saha world. And so to remain as a lay or to initiate a renunciant life, that become questions of many of the devotees. It applies to the male devotees as well as the female devotees. Okay? And so the answer Vimalakīrti has already given us here. Okay? Your duty after experiencing the Dhamma delight is to pass on. Okay? To pass on the delight. Okay? You will not renunciate the household life to just enjoy the delight by yourself. And to tell you the truth, if you renounce a Fogong San, a lot more duties will be poured on you. So it's impossible that you can just do experience the Dhamma delight by yourself. Okay. So next, it talks about the right mentality of an ailing bodhisattva. The quote here, this ailing bodhisattva of ours has no sensations of pain or pleasure, and yet he allows himself to feel such sensations. And while the law of the Buddha, which means the teaching of the Buddha, is incompletely practiced, he does not seek to wipe out such sensation in himself and gain entry into final enlightenment. What does that mean? And so, say any one of you got sick, okay? And then you experience, right, no sensations of pain or pleasure. However, you still allow yourself to have such kind of sensations, right? And then you haven't complete your cultivation of the Buddha's teaching. And then you don't want to seek to wipe out, to get rid of the sensations in yourself. Okay? And then you don't want to enter the final enlightenment, meaning that you are ill, you are sick, you have the feeling of the pain, right? Say you have toothache, right? You have the sensation of toothache, right? And because of the teaching, you understand that you know that the sensation is not true. However, you still experience that, and you are not yet to complete the cultivation of your understanding about the Buddha's teaching, and you are not getting rid of the sensations of that toothache, okay? And then you are not going to enter the final enlightenment or nirvana. Okay? Do you understand? Okay, that you still have that sensation. Okay, you still have the what we call the five aggregates. You have the form, the perception, the conception, the evaluation, the consciousness. You still have all this. Right? However, you already learned in Buddhism that these are not real. So on the one hand, you feel it. On the other hand, you understand the teaching, and then you still there, okay? Experience the ordinary experience, and not entering the nirvana. So this is the attitude of a bodhisattva who is sick. Now you understand that as a housewife, for example, you know this is tedious work that you have to take care of the family, okay? But at the same time, you are a Buddhist, that you know the Buddha's teaching, and you know that you are not yet finished your spiritual cultivation, so you continue, you allow yourself, your physical body still to feel the tedious work, the housework, okay? And then you are not, you don't want to enter nirvana, okay? You are there experiencing all this. Why is that? Why this is a right attitude of a bodhisattva? Am I making it more complicated? So this is why we think about dualism. We live in a dualistic world, so we feel the pain, and so what lies in front of us for us to choose is, do I want to continue to suffer from the pain, or can I just quickly get rid of that and enter what we call nirvana? Bye-bye to this Saha world. Okay? And for a bodhisattva who suffers from illness, he will stay there, okay, to experience that, and then knowing that this is not true. Okay, so this is a practice for us all, right? that you cannot just thinking about, I want to get rid of this world as soon as possible. Still, this is the world that we have to deal with. Okay. And next, another miracles is that Shariputra. So they come to, I forgot to tell you that finally Bodhisattva Manjusri, the one symbolized as the great wisdom in Buddhism, finally he said yes to Shakyamuni Buddha. He says, okay, I will go and inquire the illness of Vimalakīrti. And upon his consent of yes, he will go, the rest of those who say no, they cannot go, the retinue, the group, they all want to follow Manjusri Bodhisattva. So, you know, this is so true, and what will happen to us, right? And so, Sariputra was one of them, and then when he arrived at the Vimalakīrti's room, and then he saw that there was nothing in the room because Vimalakīrti, before the arrival of this big group led by Bodhisattva Manjusri, he already conjured a miracle to empty out everything in his room, okay, on purpose. Okay, so Sariputra looked around and he says that we cannot find a seat. And Vimalakīrti says, do you come here for the sake of the law, the teaching, or are you just looking for a place to sit? Okay, so this has become a very famous quote for whenever you participate in an assembly and you cannot find a seat, or you find that assembly is not so comfortable, even a great speaker was there, and you complain, and then the event host would ask, okay, did you come here for the sake of the Dhamma lecture, or you just looking for a comfortable place to sit? Okay, so this is a side. And so upon knowing what's in Sariputra's mind, Vimalakīrti, of course, gave him a lesson. However, still Vimalakīrti conjured a miracle so that the Buddha in other Buddha land, the Buddha's name is Sumeru Lamb King. So he dispatched 32,000 lion seat. When they call lion seat because it's very tall, very broad, okay, and adorned and very pure, and so it was sent from his Buddha land to Vimalakīrti's room, and it was very strange that even so many lion seats were sent there. However, when you are there in Vimalakīrti's room, you don't feel it's congested. You still feel there's still space there because of the miracles. And so the Vimalakīrti says, okay, now you have seat, go and climb up to sit in the lion seat. Okay, so for Bodhisattva, like a Manjusri Bodhisattva, he's able to take a seat. But for the rest of the sound hearer, disciple of the Buddha, like a Shariputra, he couldn't. That's too tall for him. And then, so he begged, humbly, he begged Vimalakīrti. He says that, it's too tall for me. And Vimalakīrti says that, Shariputra, if you will make obeisance to the Daskam one, Sumeru Lamb King, then you will be able to take a seat. Meaning that be humble, right? Then you can go up there. Okay. So the question, right? That why couldn't the newly embarked on their courses or the major disciples climb up into the seat? Right? They were too tall, too wide. What does that mean? What does that mean relate that to our daily life? Right? What is that lion seat represent 4, so that we cannot climb up there. For the sound hearer practitioner like Shariputra, right, that Mahayana idea is too high. They cannot go up there. Okay. So they have to, of course, at first they reject it. However, if you want to develop yourself, to transform yourself from a selfish individual practitioner to a bodhisattva practitioner, then you have to be humble yourself, and then make great vows so that you can climb up the lion seat. Okay. And next, it's a very interesting miracle this time. In that Vimalakīrti's small room, there hide a goddess. That goddess has been there for some time, okay? And upon hearing all this discussion about how to lead a bodhisattva way, what is the attitude of the being ailing bodhisattva. So he came out, she came out, and then she scattered heavenly flowers over the bodhisattvas and the major disciples of the Buddha. And guess what happened? The flowers, right, attached to those sound hearers' disciple, and Shariputra, okay, for example, he wanted to get rid of the flowers, but he couldn't. And for the bodhisattvas, the flowers just naturally falling down their robes. And so the Shariputra was very embarrassed. He wanted to get rid of the scattered flowers. And the goddess says that, "Venerable, what are you doing?" And the Shariputra says, "Such flowers are not in accordance with the teaching that I learned." Okay? Meaning that they couldn't be adorned with beautiful flowers. Okay? And so the goddess says that heavenly flowers make no such distinctions. It's you who make the distinctions. Okay. So I would like you to think, so what is the difference between the voice hearer disciples and the bodhisattva disciples? Why rules or regulations become a bondage against your emancipation? Okay. Why is that? Do you think rules can be your bondage? Every time when I encourage my congregation to take refuge in the Triple Gem or to take the 5 precepts, Bodhisattva precepts, and then they say, no, not yet. And then I asked them, what is not yet? Oh, there are so many rules, I'm afraid I couldn't follow. Okay? And then I say that you can try it. Okay? Try 1 precept, 2 precepts. Okay? But still, a lot of people are afraid of rules and precepts. So, what is that? Why, according to the story, why Shariputras? That he wants, because of his attachment to the rules, that he says he couldn't get it, right? But the bodhisattvas, naturally, okay, the flowers are just falling down the robe. So what does this say to you? Rules, they are not rules, therefore it is called rules. Right? We think no rules will give us freedom. Okay? And then rules will give us bondage. Yes?
It sounds like the voice here is you're making a distinction. You're not seeing the non-duality in the worlds and non-dualities. It sounds like they're making a bondage of their own self-knowing as
Right.
opposed to seeing through.
This is that we human beings, we only see one side of the thing, but everything in this world, for me, is two sides of a coin. That some people say that, oh, Venerable, your life must be very peaceful, quiet, right? And then they often say that 24 hours a day, I'm crossing my leg and meditate. And then they say that, oh, I want to stay in your temple and then to experience your life. Welcome. Okay. And after that, then Shariputra, seeing the goddess, and then think that the goddess must have attained a very high level of spiritual achievement. So according to the Sravaka ideas, you have to be a male body to attain that. So therefore Shariputra asked, why don't you change out this female body? And then the goddess replied, for the past 12 years I have been trying to take on female form, but in the end, with no success. I want to, but I couldn't. The quote is here, it says that all things do not exist, yet do not exist. I think, don't fall asleep. Okay, all things do not exist, yet do not exist. Okay. So, the transgender issue in the modern world is that it's a male body wants to have a female body, and vice versa. A female body wants to have a male body, so that you go through the trans surgery. Okay. However, in this story, the gender equality issue, that we have to bear in mind that when this sutra was compiled, it was in ancient India when gender inequality is an issue. And so therefore, that in Secretariat Buddhism, it says that you have to transform your female body into a male body so that you can have the highest attainment of arhatship, right? And so, here in the story, Shariputra didn't want to have a female body, that's for sure. And what is interesting is that this goddess, he has tried to take on a female form, but she was unable to. So why? Because we call the goddess a goddess, that's a female form, right? However, he says that for 12 years he tried to adopt a female form, but she couldn't succeed on it. What does that mean? Wake up! Or maybe I turn on the light, just for a short time. Yes, I want to see anyone fall asleep. Okay, time for you to think about why the goddess says.
These distinctions are dual and unattainable.
Okay, you got it. It's for the goddess. Okay? Actually, should be no such thing. Okay? There shouldn't be a female body or a male body. That is a man-made, artificial distinction. Okay? And what is more true than nowadays, that we know that in a female body you can find, if we put that yin and yang, in a female body you can find yang, in a male body you can find yin. Okay? And it is said that the older you become, a female, for a female, you will find the yang element will manifest it more. I think that happens in me. I feel like more and more like a male characteristics. It's there. I don't know whether that's true for a male. Okay. Okay. So we talk about the gender issues, which is also a hot topic nowadays. And so in learning Buddhism, but at the same time, we also want to deal with the topic that is a concern in our modern society. And so we have to face the gender issues, the gay marriage, for example, and we as monastic, I think we have to confront that, whether you want to or not, but your people, we are to serve the general public, and the issues of the general public would sooner or later come to our temple. There is just no escape on that. And I think a university setting, you also, because the people comes from the society, and we just cannot ignore that. And just remember that in Buddhism, the Buddha told us all beings are equal. And so Venerable Master Xing Yun says that when people ask him about a question, he says that whatever is natural and whatever is accepted by the majority, then we accept it. Okay, so you follow the natural flow of the development of the modern human society. Okay. So here it has deal with the plant, the seed, the Buddha seed. And he says that, quote, "The lotus does not grow on the upland plain. The lotus grows in the mud and mire of a damp, low-lying place. It is only when living beings are in the midst of the mire of earthly desires that they turn to the Buddha law." Okay? So we know that the lotus grows from the muddy place, and it is like that we ordinary human beings, that we are born in this Saha world, and this Saha world becomes a nutrient to grow our body seed. And so all the various earthly desires are the seeds of that has come one. And so there is also another quote, okay? "Upon accomplishing our humanhood, we accomplish our Buddhahood." Have you heard of that? So you have to perfect your being a human being, and then upon that, you are regarded as attaining your Buddhahood. So non-dual, okay? The Buddhahood and humanhood, right? So, at the very beginning, I want you to think about the question of human body and Buddha body, non-dual. Okay? You need this human body to plant the seed of Bodhi to accomplish your Buddhahood. So, the desires, the 5 desires, wealth, sex, fame, food, and sleep, okay? We are living in these desires. We cannot get rid of that. Okay? However, we know the teaching of the Buddha, and we're still living in this world of 5 desires. Remember the question that I put earlier? Okay? We are in this kind of setting, and we are cultivating ourselves to attain our Buddhahood. Okay. For example, to manage a higher education institute like this, we need budget. No money, no talk. Right? However, this is what we want. And this is Venerable Master Xing Yun's ideal, that he wants to establish a university in the West. And why? Because he thinks education is very important. Okay? So before everyone can receive the Buddhism education, then you come to the higher education institute. And in here, then you got a chance, like today, you can hear the Dharma talk, right? And without this, then you won't be available in my Dharma talk here. So it's important that in cultivate in planting our seed, we also have to deal with what we call the desires. You just cannot escape from this. Okay? And this is the more I serve in my Austin temple, the find it is so true. My 24 hours a day is dealing with the budget. No budget, no Dhamma talk. I know it sounds secular, but it's so true that without the support from my lay community, then I won't have the platform, right, to host the chanting service, to do the Dhamma talk. Right? So, in entering the gate of non-dualism, that the Vimalakīrti invite the audience in his room to talk about what is non-duality. And they all give them their ideas, for example, wisdom and ignorance. Right? For example, the emancipation and non-emancipation, so they are in dual pair. And so, when it comes to Manjusri, the Manjusri answer is, all dhammas are without words, without explanations, without purport, without cognition, and removed from all questions and answers. And then he turned to Vimalakīrti, the one who bring up the question of how does the Bodhisattva go about entering the gate of non-dualism. And Vimalakīrti remained silent. Did not speak a word. Sound of silence. You guys also give me Vimalakīrti's answer today several times. Okay, so what do we do in silence? What do we do in silence? Think about it. There is a threefold doctrine of emancipation, which is emptiness, formlessness, non-action, okay? 空无相无作 in Chinese. And so what do we do? You think you do nothing. Can you do nothing in silence? You know, people ask, come to your Fogongsan temple. There's so many events, so many activities. You don't stop. We keep on organizing events, right? Because we understand, right? This is where we plant the seed of Bodhi. Okay? This is how people can get enlightenment. Okay? It's the setting here, and out of this, maybe there are some enlightened beings coming out from here. Okay. I have no time to continue, but this is generally speaking the idea that in learning the Vimalakīrti Sūtra, I think we learn to be more open-minded and willing to accept new concepts, okay? Because after negate A and then negate non-A, then you have no stand, no place to stand, and it is there, then you are able to accept new ideas and be curious about the new findings or the new doctrine, new definition of the Buddha's teaching, and be more creative in applying the Buddha's teaching in your daily life. That's my conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Jueji. She actually gave us 85 minutes. 85 minutes song of silence, okay? She actually gave our 85 lecture, but I hope everyone can get some echo from your heart, say, what means song of silence? Venerable Jueji actually raised a good question at the beginning. It's more like a Zen. It's more like a public case for Gong'an. So everyone keep that question, and if you want, you can just reread the Sutra. So maybe you can see a lot of story and kind of thing. So remind you what the Venerable Jueji mentioned today. And we still have 5 minutes. So anyone want to have a question?
Any silence questions?
Any silence question of silence? Okay. Yes.
Okay. That's okay. I can speak very loud. First of all, thank you for the presentation. And I think that for myself, I learned quite a bit and had to think a lot during the more than an hour. But when we're talking about Vimalakīrti Sūtra, it happened to me like there's a lot of common concept with that particular sutra and the Avatamsaka Sutra. So, but they must have some kind of different perspective. And the way I look at that is the Vimalakīrti Sutra seems to be tending to the Theravada school. But the Avatamsaka Sutra seems to be looking at the general Mahayana school. Is that the right approach or right observation? I'm not sure, so just need some comments.
Thank you for your question. As I mentioned, that Vimalakīrti Sutra belongs to the early Mahayanist sutra, and Avatamsaka Sutra, it has a more advanced, a better formatted form. And so at the beginning, the theory is not yet built up. And so in Vimalakīrti Sutra, the purpose is to wake up the sound hearers that they have to open their mind in accepting the new ideas, the Bodhisattva ideas, and then the ideas of not distance the monastic practitioners from the general public. Okay, because in Sravaka practitioners, they emphasize more, okay, on the forest monastic spiritual cultivation. And the general public, the lay majority, their duty is to offer doing dana, giving, to the monastic order. Okay? But in Mahayana Buddhist movement, they advocate that the teaching of the Buddha is for all. Okay? That you cannot just doing that profound Abhidhamma teaching that the general lay public, that they cannot comprehend the profound teaching. they don't have time, just like the monastic that you can meditate for a long time, and then so that you can do that profound contemplation on the Dharmas. And so the purpose of this sutra is, for me, is to wake up. Okay? Most of the monastic practitioners to wake up, to pay more attention on the needs of the general public. And so the later development of the Mahayana sutras, like Avantasaka Sutra, also called Flower Garland Sutra or Lotus Sutra, they are more systematically added. Yes? Just one question.
Any question? We still have 1 minute. Any question?
Quick, yes.
Oh, okay.
What is emptiness for you? What is the meaning that you understand? In a positive
In the Mahayanist definition of emptiness is that emptiness, because of emptiness, then we have everything. So, because the emptiness of this room, this lecture room, that I can have you guys as my audience, so that everything is possible. And so, as ordinary human beings living in this human world, we need emptiness to create everything. And I need to empty out my personal, individual, stubborn thinking to embrace the new ideas that the modern world presented to me. So, emptiness for me is the source of improvement, progress in life. And I hope that in my next life, okay, I start with emptiness. And so that I can renew my learning experience as a newborn baby, that I can learn a lot more in my future lives. That's positive enough.
We have good time to have a Venerable Jueji share her understanding of the Sutra to us. So I hope everyone can get your insight and wisdom from this lecture. Next Wednesday, the same time, 2:30, we will invite Venerable Jue. She come from Australia, and she just come here over the same lecture, but the different sutra, Taifeng Sutra. So this two sutra actually is a critical Mahayana sutra, and we have this chance to invite two Venerable to share their understanding. So hope everyone can come to here next Wednesday at the same time, in the same place, and to listen the Taifeng Sutra. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.